Hey everybody, welcome to the buylist. This is episode 84.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard. Just let's
Oh,
dive into it. Literally, it's stuck in my monitor. Just a little Levia.
nice. Nice. Nate, how was your week in Flesh and Blood?
Ted, I've taken us to the Holy Land. We did it. Bolton baby 3-0. Slight technicality. I did get the pair down, and there was 10 people at our armory, so there was 2 3-0s, but we're old grumpy men and ain't nobody got time for that. So we took the
Yeah.
3-0. We did it. We conquered the Bolton Armory Deck Challenge. It's a relief. I was about to record on like my walk in, but I forgot. But like I was thinking in my head in my drive to the Armory, I was like, if I don't win this week, F it. We're going full degen. We're gonna go combo Bolton, and we're just switching. We're gonna switch it up on these bros and just wreck them with some combo. Didn't
Mm,
have to do that.
nice.
I got max round one. Close game. Uh, I went first. I charged my soul, and then I had a V for the Vanguard, which I set, and then I went V for the Vanguard double charge into I think it was like a 27 damage turn with bolting blade. So easy clap.
Yeah.
I played a new guy who was one of I think it was like fourth game. He was playing Betsy. He
Okay.
likes Betsy for some reason.
Okay.
Listen, brother, you do you, but that's a poor life decision. Um,
For now.
for now, could be great in the hunt or after high seas.
Yes,
Uh,
it could be.
and then that was my pair down. And then the final round, I get paired into Jarl. And I was like, again, Gem, you're screwing me here, all right? He um I think one of his first turns he plays Crumble to Eternity, and he puts a -1 counter on my solar plexus. And I go, is that how that works? And then the next turn he plays Frozen to Death and blew up my solar plexus. Now, the thing about the Bolton Armory deck is you do one really, really sick turn a game, and it revolves around solar plexus. You go solar plexus, V for the Vanguard, double charge, and then go pop, 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 pop. Usually, like if you have a bolting blade, bonus points, but the yellow Valiant Thrust also pretty cool on those turns. So usually it's like
Hmm.
22 to like upwards of like 29 damage, depending on like how sick your hand is. Um, so he blew that up, and I said, this game just got very interesting because Bolton does not like frostbites,
No.
specifically Armory deck Bolton. Not a fan. Not a fan. But we got
Yeah.
there. Barely. But we got
Nice.
there, fam.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I think we talked a little bit about it over the last couple of weeks while you were doing it, or when we ran some episodes. But overall, I guess as we ramp up the armory or the gym pack challenge
Yeah.
and like upgrading a bone stock Bolton deck, I was just like impressed. Like every week you came back and you were like, I opened this, and I was like, dude, because I had to look up the prices
Mhm.
to like kind of give you the TCG low, and I was like, man, this is like actually going really well. Like there's some like they're holding some strong prices. If you hit the right rainbow foils in those gym packs, you get yourself a couple bucks to upgrade your deck. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think, like, total, I think the upgrades in the deck were only probably about $70.
That's crazy.
In with those $70 in upgrades, like the deck feels incredibly like I complain about playing it, but like the deck is very functional. It feels very strong. It's
Yeah.
just like when you play like good players on tuned decks, you're just like that like little inch behind them, but the games all feel very competitive.
Yeah. Hmm.
Your deck really does revolve around like a couple power turns.
Yeah.
And that actually, funny enough, I put Fates in the deck because I was like, if my deck revolves around a couple power turns, maybe I should just stay alive long enough to do them. Uh,
Yeah,
but that
it's
was
fun.
like the one. I literally traded out the Warband of Bologna because I hated that card. Because I actually, what's funny is like I like the headpiece more. The put a yellow
Mm,
card, just filter draw than the 3 blocks. So, um, yeah, I mean the fact that you can take an Armory deck, put $70 into it, and go 3-0 on an Armory is just kind of a testament to. And I think Bolton's probably one of the weaker Armory decks.
yeah, I think you put $70 into a KO deck, you're getting to that 3-0 a little bit quicker, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. Like
Um,
KO's not a meta contender, but I think he's still just like can just smash, right?
mhm,
You just yeah.
yeah,
I mean like scab skins are like $30. So
yeah.
for like $50 you can get a play set of blood rush bellows and scab skins, I think. Almost I'm just spitballing here, but I bet you it's around $50. So like under $100 you're cooking.
Oh yeah, because you can get like
Yeah.
you can get Scowling then, and like Apex is like all right, but don't
Yeah.
necessarily need it. So I don't know if you want to do it, but I'm down to do it with Max too. Everyone thinks the Max deck sucks. That the fake Max decks that people think exist, but um, I'm down to try it with that as well because I think there's a lot of like promising tools in the Max deck. And then again, I might after a couple weeks hate my life, but down to try.
I don't know about main decking hyperdrivers, but we'll see.
Oh, dude, HyperX, baby.
Yeah,
It's
that's
finally
true.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was overall pretty successful. I'm glad you got there on the 3-0. That was super cool. And just like even if you didn't get to the 3-0, I think we proved the point that gym packs are like A plus. Keep them going, LSS. That's like
Yeah,
a great addition to the game. Like even my armories are like I don't know. They were always chill, but there's like even a less of an edge now. Everyone just kind of shows up with something.
yeah.
They're like, I'm going to try this deck tonight. Like, oh, I'm not trying super hard to get my favorite cold foil weapon anymore, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Because sometimes that would happen, and it'd be like, ah,
I think the coolest part, like one, we had 10 people at the Armory, which was awesome.
yeah,
But the new guy, the Betsy player, opened a kunai, a cold foil kunai, which is just like
clutch,
literally a first Armory. Our store is awesome, free to play, and then they give out
cool.
a gem pack, and usually some of like they always have like a backstock of like older promos, so they give those
Mm-hmm.
out for free. Um, and just like you show
Like,
up, you play 3 rounds with a bunch of chill people who aren't being super sweaty, and then you open like 40 to 50 bucks. That's like
yeah,
such a great way to go and like start your
yeah,
deck building journey.
mm-hmm.
Like so like I can like go and actually get like he could go get a freaking Armory deck with that. Like
Yeah. I've seen. I was just gonna say, I've seen that live in action where like someone opens one of the cold foil weapons
yeah,
and like instantly trades it to somebody for cards that they needed,
yeah,
like because that person wanted to bling out their fang deck or whatever, and
yeah.
it's just like I'll trade that shelter for that the more expensive obsidian fireblade. It's like, dude, that's sick. It happens live right in front of me at some of my armories.
Yeah.
um yeah, so super cool. I'm excited to see the next season already. So my armories have been, or my armory this week was pretty sweet. I played Vincet again, Nate. uh
Mhm.
I'm super pumped, dude. That deck, like, I don't know. I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to like feel it out a little bit. So like smooth over some of the rough edges. And man, I went 3-0 again, which was super cool. Man, she's pretty fun. When like Malefic Incantations, good card, good card.
Yep.
She needed those so bad. And like I'm getting to the point with the deck where I just know what's worth taking damage. You know, you kind of get to that like feel out point where like, yeah, I'm just taking all this damage and playing these malefics. There's like no shot or like just understanding some of those like back and forths. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. Again, got an armory pack, super cool. Like instantly traded my rainbow foil to my buddy that's playing Fang still to like bling out his deck.
Was
Because
it
he's like, oh,
Cole?
I play that. Yeah, Cole's still playing it. He really likes the deck. So
Let's
yeah,
go,
he's
Cole. Fang gang.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's like pumped about it. I think I wasn't able to go to the one on Thursday that I have locally, and he won. I think he went 3-0 with Fang that night, but then I went to one on
Boys.
Saturday, and he played Max just as something fun to do because Max is coming out. So, but yeah, it was super cool. Vincet is like surprising me. The deck's a lot of fun. Um, just like if you're out there, please don't block me out. Oh man, that deck.
You haven't
That
figured
deck.
that one out yet?
I mean, like I have a sideboard and everything, and I went up against a Kasai, and I was a little worried about it. I was like, ooh, she can probably put in some work, like maybe not enough blues. So I like sided in half my go against, but you know, I got to do like when you get to do a double rune gate turn. Oh my god, chest kiss. Oh, dude, it's so good. It's so good, especially if you have the rune gate like chilling. You take a couple blood debt, and then you're just like, ba boom, ba boom. You're like, yeah, what up? Just gives you so much room in the game. You're like, please, now I can draw a rune blade hand and like not instantly die. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. And she's definitely, and we talked about it a little bit. She's like not as hurt by Warmongers either, even though I think Warmongers is kind of
uh,
like out of the meta for the most part.
yeah, I've had a couple players play it against me. This last Saturday it was like super unfortunate timing. He's like warmongers, and I'm like, look at my hand, and it's like two dirges and a malefic and a rune gate card, which I'm like, I'm gonna dump that anyways. So I'm just like, yeah, peace. And he's like, oh, it just got sad. He's just like, oh no. And I had rune chance out already, so I was just like, dirge, malefic, pass. And he's like, oh no.
Um,
I was like, yeah,
we're in danger.
yeah. I don't count my rune chants with dice either. I put out a rune chant for everyone. So max psychic damage, dude. Here's 12 sitting here. It's a mess, but
Do you
this is
like
how
pick
we
them
do
up
it.
to resolve each one of them too?
No, no, I stack them up in threes for them. Like, here you go. Here's 3, 6, 9, 12, and then 6 coming at you after we resolve these.
Yeah, they
But
better all be cold foil, otherwise you're a coward.
I have 5 cold foil.
You
I need to get
five
more.
cold foil rune chants?
Yeah, I need to get like 8 or 9. So maybe at London I'll get a couple extra.
All
Dude, you
right.
gotta go, man. You gotta go. Have you seen my Florian deck, bro? Mm-hmm.
I know. Mr. Moneybags over here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Freaking
Mm-hmm.
five cold foil Rooney boys.
Yeah, yeah. But all right, Nate. So we've been, I guess we've been chatting about like what to talk about. We're kind of in a, as far as like the market goes, like my market minutes have been pretty spicy. Things are moving around. Obviously, we got Max Deck coming out. Like, well, there was like a pseudo spoiler. Whoopsie.
There's a oopsie. Yeah.
Dude, what's going on, LSS? Man, come on now. I mean, I don't think anyone's complaining, but man, you gotta tighten that. You gotta tighten that shit up, dude. Um,
It is kind of
it,
weird that we've like literally seen almost nothing. I feel like because like it comes out in 2 weeks, right?
yeah, they like dropped the video and then they pulled it after a couple hours. I don't know what's going on. I'm guessing it's coming out any minute. Like literally, by the time we publish this, it's probably gonna be out or something funny. But
Oh, you Alice has like kind of gotten in the habit of like waiting for us to drop something and like, making us look like absolute idiots.
yeah, right,
Uh,
exactly.
but
Um, but like overarching, I guess where I was going with this is like, yeah, the market, there's stuff to talk about, there's cards to talk about. I think overarching topics, though, we normally have like sets to talk about or new cards. We kind of already done that, and now we're just waiting for more spoilers.
yeah,
But like, just as a general theme, there's obviously a lot of hand wringing out there, Nate, about Shelter hitting $100 this past week. And stabilizing there too. There's a number of sales at 98, 99, 97. People that reached out to me when the Hunted dropped, my prediction, Nate, was that it would be $70 to $80, like we said in our tier list
yeah.
discussion. It would drop to 40 for a hot minute. Like it should have been dropping to 40 like nowish because there's nothing to play for. Like just as more product comes out, right? This is what happens, right? Fellings dropped a little bit, then bumped. So I was like, yeah, you might be able to get it for under 50 for like a second. If you get them for under 50, you're good, right? That never happened. We just went the other direction. Obviously, there's some influence on like the hunted's issues that we know about. Um,
I was gonna say
but that is a
you
very expensive Majestic.
you can speak for yourself because I had
No,
local
you were,
I had
yeah,
locals who were like, "Hey, do you have shelters? I'm interested in buying some." And I said, "Right now they're like 55 on TCG Player. I have them. I'm not willing really to sell them at that price. So you are more than welcome to buy them on TCG Player, and I encourage you to do so." And then one of them, shout out to shout out to Jeff, like later that night, he was like, "I purchased them," and then like basically like a day later, this was like release day because we had a release day event.
yeah.
um, a day later, they were 80, and I was like, "Yeah,
I can't be,
that was a wise financial decision to just straight up buy them then."
I
Um,
can't even remember them being 55. I thought it was like 60, 65, right to 80, now to 100.
I think they were like 55 to maybe 60
Yeah.
opening day. Um, so I bought a couple at 60. So
I I mean,
I was very
like,
confident in my price analysis of the card that it would not be lower
yeah,
than 80. I held on to them
yeah.
for quite some time. I did not sell below 80.
The print run issues that happened definitely would have affected that that analysis. I think a little bit, right? Like, I generally even expensive cards like felling, plow under, they do like hype kind of tapers off a bit. People open more and more product. People want to sell them. They go down, then they come back up, right? But here we are now. And we wanted to talk a little bit about, I think Brian was on a podcast as well for a couple guys in Brazil, Pummel Talk, shout out.
Yeah,
Um, and they talked about the price of Majestics, right?
yeah.
And he had mentioned that, yeah, they're looking at it. Yeah, they watch these things. Um, yeah, Nate, you had a pretty interesting take on like what we could possibly see, or just like how we can fix this, but then also be, or how they could fix it, and then also be just kind of respectful to collectors and the game itself, right? Because like obviously we're not big fans of just reprinting things into the ground, right? That's not, we've been pretty
No.
consistently against that.
Here, let me see. I might actually have some. Okay, so this is perfect. I have props. So I listened to it. Like Brian was talking about, like how they have some thoughts on like what they want to do. They don't want to announce anything until like they are sure they can implement it and make sure that it is successful. Um, to try to like stabilize, not maybe not stabilize, but like address the fact that like you look at the past what 7 sets now. There's been one Majestic or a couple Majestics that are just head and like head and shoulders above the rest, right? Like we have Shelter, which is $100 now. We have Felling and Prop Plow Under, which are both over $50 and have been
Mhm.
kind of between like the $50 to $60 range, specifically for Felling. Then we have Weakest Link, which was up to $80 for the
Mhm.
longest time. It's dropped back down a little bit. It's down to like I think 40
It's
now.
on sale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on sale. Um,
I, uh,
heavy hitters. Didn't really have it. Best thing we had was Blade Flurry, um,
mhm.
but still like a solid $20 card. And then
Yeah.
Twin Drive's been, I guess, a Toll of Imperial Flame too. Um,
Oh yeah, Toma Imperial Flame was cooking there for a minute.
yeah,
Obviously, that one was not as the the demand goes up and down with that one, right? Because we're
yes,
talking about generics mostly, except for that card. So
yes. And then Warmongers and Codex, right? So
yeah,
pretty much every single one outside of like Heavy has had a Majestic staple that has been over $30, which has been a pain point for some players. Now, those players that this has been a pain point for also are usually neglecting to mention that legendaries are no longer $100 a pop, which is
Yeah.
what was the case pre all of these sets, where
Yeah.
legendaries are usually what carried the value of the boxes and the cases before that. The value has to go somewhere, otherwise, we don't have a video game to play with everyone.
Yeah.
Because they print boxes, no one wants them because no one wants to open them because there's just garbage inside. We don't have an IP that is world renowned worth collecting. So,
Mm-mm.
um, and then we talked a little bit about like Command and Conquer. Um, the reprint really hasn't affected too much of the price, but
Yeah.
to be careful of like Ellis has been very mindful about their reprints and making sure that it's done in a way that's respectful for everyone who currently owns cards and has played Flesh and Blood for a long time. So I'm going to show you. This is a card from a card game I used to play called Dragon Ball Super, which is dead. It's not Dragon Ball Masters, I think. This is SS2 Trunks Heroic Prospect. This is three different versions of the same card. I probably paid anywhere from $80 to $40 ish a copy for these because this was a blue staple.
Mm.
There are now I checked because I'm going through all my old stuff and actually selling some of them to see how much these cards are. Again, like I probably paid $200+ for a playset of four of these. I don't know where the other one is. This card now has 11 different variants.
Holy shit, dude. I was not expecting you to say 11.
None of them are more than $1.
Oh my god.
So, like, think about that from the everyone who has a Command and Conquer right now. You don't want your
Yeah.
Command and Conquers to like. How bad would you feel if you spent $200 on a playset of Command and Conquers? Let's say you got a screaming deal, and then 2 weeks later, you
Yeah.
could not sell them for more than $1.50. You probably couldn't sell them.
Yeah.
Like, so it's incredibly important that they've been very careful with this all along, but they
Mhm.
take care to make sure that they don't just print something into the ground. Because one, it's not good for the product that it's printed in, because it does not
Yeah.
help that product sell. If something is free, no one wants it.
Yeah.
If something
No
costs
one's gonna
money,
pay
everyone
for it.
wants it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So listening to like what Brian was saying, I was like, how could they work out a way that would make not like shelter not free. We don't want shelters to be this. We do
Yeah,
not
no.
want shelters to be $1,
Yeah.
but we don't want them to be $100. So I was sitting back, smoking my pipe, drinking my coffee on my deck, really like reading Darwinism and thinking about the mysteries of life as they were, and realized that the solution is can be pretty elegant and almost unnoticeable. And I think that we could start to see it soon, where let's say we did some hard hitting research before this episode that we found that most print sheets have like 110 copies on a print sheet. We haven't seen a Majestic print sheet ever, I don't think. So we have no
Yeah.
idea what the Majestic print sheets look like. So let's just assume 100 per print sheet for Majestics. And let's say they have like 10 different print sheets to like add in variation and box collation and all that, whatever mumbo jumbo you want. But let's say out of the 1,000 cards, each card should appear 30 times to keep it simple. If LSS were to say Shelter would appear 35 times, and then pick like a middling card in the set, and that appears 25 times. Obviously, over the entire print run, we're going to end up with 15% more shelters
Mhm.
and 15% less of random card. So if there's less of random cards, where it's not going to be like we're not printing
Yeah.
15% less slays. That should be printed 100% less, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like
But it's like you brought up a good point. It should be the card that like maybe they could tune down. They do have like we know that they short print some Majestics already, like weapons at
legendaries.
times, and then and yeah, legendary cards as well. But like you're saying, maybe there's a way to do this where a card that's just solely for a singular hero, right? Like this is just always going to be a Fang Majestic.
Yeah,
Like it just doesn't really, or like I think we talked about Devotion, right? It's like basically a Syndra card, even though it says Ninja on it.
yeah,
Maybe they just derate that one just a bit.
yeah,
It's not technically short printed per like the normal legendaries or weapons or armor like in the past, but it's just derated a little bit, and it kind of ups that floor and lowers that ceiling on these Majestics, right?
yeah. Because I think like a card like Shelter sitting at like 30-40 bucks is much more reasonable. Everyone would kind of expect that. It is a staple
Yeah,
generic that goes in every single deck that wants it.
yeah,
But yeah, like you said, like things like a Kiss of Death. Like it's not running every assassin, but every assassin could run it. So I think there's a way that they could kind of play with the formula based on like how many expected heroes run the card to kind of shift the percentages of what cards you see more of or less of. And obviously if there's less like Kiss of Death, that card price is going to move up a little bit. But it's everyone's going to look at someone who's complaining about $5 $15 Majestics like they're the village idiot, because they are. Like, who's complaining about a $15 Majestic?
yeah,
Nobody. Like, they can go play an LCG if they're complaining about a $15 Majestic.
yeah.
The cards have to have value because LSS has to sell boxes because they are a for-profit company, and
Yes,
they are continuing to
yeah,
grow. So but that is a very delicate balance too, because if you all of a sudden short print Slay, it does not matter.
yeah. I think also, Nate, I would like to caveat to this discussion is like pure just conjecture too. Like as a guy that works in manufacturing, I'm like, oh, there's gotta like, you know what I mean? My head's spinning. At like when you're making millions of something, you know, a million cards plus, I can't imagine the like how hard it is to do this. Obviously, we're simplifying it down just to talk about it and shoot the
It's
shit, but like you know, I just want to put that out there. We're not saying that like this is how they fix it. No, I think it's like it's a decent idea though, and it's interesting to talk about like how do you keep that? It's like instead of shifting the top down, just being like shelter should be $40, not 100. It's like, well, maybe if you pull up some of the bottom to
Mhm.
bring down some of the top, right? We can shift the scale a little bit instead of just being like everything's got to be under $50 if it's a Majestic, because then that just always a lot of the times I take that as like, well, you're just pulling EV out of the box, which is not a real solution, to be honest, because like you said, if you don't have EV in the box, then you ain't open it, and then hello MetaZoo. It's just like you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
can't. It's like it's got to be a shifting scale, and I don't think I haven't really heard anyone talk about it in that sense, right? You got to find, um, and that's why I think we've been so against reprints. Like you said, those trunks cards, that is a terrible. That is awful, dude. There's 11 of those. Like I know there's a lot of Command and Conquers in this game,
I have three of each
right?
of them already.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But like we also have to remember too that I think they're very aware and smartly aware that this being like an eternal format game, you can't just like take shelters and like make them $3 a year from now, because like that card is supposed like there's like there's no guarantees in a TCG, but like that's supposed to be one of the selling points of Flesh and Blood. Is like I bought my Tunic 3 years ago, and the it's still worth 90% of what I paid for it, or even shit 50%. You know what I mean? Like if you can even say that in a TCG, you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. I should look at this game.
I
So
think
they
the
should
best
be
part about
careful.
Flesh and Blood is that you can say that with every card. It's close to 100%. Like,
I mean, like obviously there's some cards that had to be banned, which I think that's going to happen.
yeah,
Um, and I would say that like I personally don't expect that from LSS to like try to hold up the value of my CNCs, and like it happens, right? Like some things have to change. Maybe there has to be reprints. Sure, fine. Game's growing. But like you said, right now they're batting at like a 900 clip. Like
yeah.
I mean, like Art of Wars are the only things that I can think of in my collection where it's just like, oh, like you nuke that from outer space, right?
So, yes, like adjusting the Majestics slightly to like print, like make sure that the more commonly played cards appear more often is one of the tools that they can use to try to shift that down or just move the pricing around because you're just like pulling from that and then like adding hopefully like if you pull you hopefully would add $5 to 10 other Majestics if you pulled $50 from Shelter, right?
Yeah.
um, but the one thing too that I think about with the Hunted that they did really really well was add collectability. Like
Hmm.
EA CNCs and EA Shelters are both sold like absolute hotcakes
Yeah.
and are like those staple cards with amazing art that people want to collect and own and have in their decks. So
Hmm.
even though we do not have the IP of SSS2 Trunks Heroic Prospect, and we can't print 11 variants of this card and print them repeatedly, um, if they can make those staples blingy and make them blingy in like rare and unique ways, that's a way to pull some of the box value away from the Majestics. But the shift to say the shift to call the the masses about $100 legendaries was to move the value to the Majestics.
Yeah.
Now we have a new problem. We have expensive Majestics. How do we solve that?
Turns out it wasn't the it wasn't the rarity of the card. It was the I mean, yeah, you know, it's like I said, like I try to think back to when I started, and I guess it's really not even comparable with like Star Wars Destiny from FFG. But like I knew that card had or that card game had a rotation, right? So it was just like built in, like, yeah, I won't be able to play with these cards at this point in time.
Yep.
But like right now, it's just like, well, I have 6 Command and Conquers now. I get to play with those until something happens, right? But there's like no foreseeable reason to ban such cards. So um they have like a and I guess what I'm saying is like they have like another tightrope. It's a little bit more of a tightrope walk for them, right? They like can't just be okay, the rotation's gonna hit, and then we can print like the next 6 attack, and like just like that one went away now. So like
It,
it's they're trying to do something new. Like yeah, it's not easy, I imagine.
it is difficult because like again, I came from Dragon Ball Super, which was an Eternal game as well. So like there would be
Uh,
random cards from the first set when we were in set 15 that all of a sudden became playable again, and they just and then they would just like reprint them just right back into the ground, and it like it was it was kind of like this never ending uh game of
it's like
whack-a-mole of like
yeah,
what are they gonna nuke next with their reprint. And what's funny is Dragon Ball Super also had kind of like a jump pack system which I when we initially started, I think I talked about this, that it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense for them because they can introduce reprints, but they can also control the volume at which reprints are reintroduced. And one thing we haven't talked about that I think the community is slowly becoming more aware of is like the pink strip razor reflex. Incredibly rare in the gem pack.
Impossible to hit, dude.
Dude, I picked one up for $12. The store messaged me and said, oh, they only had rainbow foils that could list. They're like, hey, this is rainbow foil, just so you're aware. And I said, in the words of James White, ship it, baby. So they shipped it. I didn't even know how rare they were at the time, but I just wanted one. Um, but they're
Yeah.
$69 now for a razor reflex, which is, let me check the math again. Oh, that's right. Played in 0 decks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my two stores have like 10 to 12 people a week, and they've opened one razor
Yeah. Yeah.
reflex. It's so rare.
Yeah.
Because I even asked, I was like, hey, has anyone seen anyone open one of these? And they're like, yeah, there's one last week. I was like, holy smokes. So yeah, they definitely can like turn the rarity knob up in those gym packs, that's for sure.
Yes.
Um so like yeah, that's definitely an outlet to do that as well.
Mhm.
I think, you know, to me, my first thought is like, okay, oh god, don't do like what you're just saying with trunks there. But like you said, if you make them rare enough, you can uh, you can do okay with it. We'll see where they go. I think they have a lot of tools to kind of work with now. Like uh, we're starting to see reprints and armory decks slowly but surely. Those are generally been, like you said, they've been very cautious with them. Um, Arc Lightning was like a $5 card, and it's honestly it didn't move. Like I think that's a very unique situation, but that card didn't really move at all. It's still like $5. So you
Uh,
know,
they only put
um,
2 in the armory deck though, which
yeah,
I think is I it, when we did our armory deck episode way back last year and dug into like the data, they only put 1 red in the ledger in the Azalea deck.
hmm
In the price of red in the ledger actually went up. So
yeah, yeah,
um, when they put, it'll be interesting to see like kind of where when the dust settles. Rosetta's kind of there's been some
hmm
games played with that.
yeah,
Looking at you distribution, but
yeah.
um, it'll be interesting to see where it settles out at because I could see it going up just because you need 1 extra one. You got to go to the TCG player to get it.
hmm
It's not
Yep.
like you got any other options. So
Yeah. Even if like she wins the pro tour and like she needs to be like some kind of soft band to her, like a little light touch, if she like shows up in numbers again and they feel like, yeah, okay, we gotta pull her down just a slight bit, it's definitely not gonna be arc lightning. There's gonna be, yeah, it's definitely gonna be take away those like super saiyan turns that she has, or she just like gets you from 30 or whatever. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think the armory deck one, like you said, maybe like one offs in an armory deck can work for certain majestics. Um, we'll see. I think there's a lot of things that they can do. I'll be interested to see what they end up doing. Um, but like as always, Elsa seems to have a real good track record of testing things with like a light touch and then going and then figuring out how it goes and then pretty good track record of figuring it out in the end. So I'm here for it.
yeah, they usually like that's what I think. High seas might be like the first set where we see them maybe start to monkey with some things because they seem to test things before they like go full fledged. Kind of like the gold packs. Um, like they wanted to make sure that they could get it done and do it right before they went like whole hog ham and put an entire freaking set in 1 pack in
A
every
whole
box.
mini set, whole nother mini set, dude.
Dude, LSS, you crazy.
insane.
You
Yeah,
crazy,
insane.
LSS.
But all right, Nate. I think that wraps it up. I sound off in chat in the comments below what you think about it. How you think that they could handle some of the some of these like powerful Majestics and such. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yes. So do the
Uh,
dues.
yep. Like, subscribe.
Yep. Do the dues. Good night, Brian. And always remember, put your money where your mouth is. Trunks, trunks, trunks.
Peace.
Peace.